Welcome back to another episode of Ultra Morons. Me, your host as usual, Lane, joined by Connor again.
Oh yeah,
Last episode, we talked about
it's one fine.
Disfund 5, the 4 traitor legions that fought against the 3 loyalists, death of Ferrus Manus, possible death of Vulcan, we don't know, and Korax escapes. And in the last video, I was kind of all over the place a little bit about who were the 4 traitor legions, and the word bearers were there. I said they weren't, but they were. I checked later. Yes. So addendum to that, while that's happening, another part of the universe, the word bearers are working on something else. And this is why I thought the word bearers weren't there, because I thought they were doing this, but I guess they did both. So there's a battleship they made, this massive battleship, larger than anything anybody ever seen before, besides maybe the phalanx of the Imperial Fists and the Emperor's flagship. But this is the biggest ship ever built. And it was built at a hidden forge with Mechanicum collusion. Now, Mechanics aren't loyal to the Imperium, really. They kind of do their own thing. They're like a third party. So it's not technically heresy for them to do that because they work with the Emperor. They don't serve the Emperor.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So
Like,
they
it's like a contractor.
word bearers hired them and said, build us the biggest ship you've ever seen. They said, yeah, you got it, boss. So the whole purpose of this ship was to reach Macragge, the homeworld of the Ultramarines, and just like kill them all before the Ultramarines can really get rolling.
Okay.
It didn't work. Some loyalists found out, went to the ship, killed a bunch of people in the ship, blew up the ship. That book is called Battle for the Abyss. It's a short book, really. Not much happens besides that. So, yeah, I'll just cover that part of it. So, beyond that, there's something else as well as going on. Before Isfahan was the Council of Nikaea. The Council of Nikaea, we might have talked about it before in the first episode or second episode, but I'm not sure. But basically, what it was is that the Emperor doesn't like Psykers. Well, not that he doesn't like them because he is one, but and so is Malfador. It's very dangerous to be a Psyker, and he knows what danger that can bring. So he knows that it needs to be kind of like restricted.
Right.
There needs to be certain rules on it. So one of the most powerful of the sorcerers and casters and Psykers are the Thousand Sons, and they are mostly all of them. I think are simply of sorcery. And some legions have their own psychers. Not that many. I mean, wordbearers definitely do, of course. But the Thousand Sons had built libraries on top of libraries for their people to study. So it's like a whole part of their culture.
So I guess I'm curious: is kind of being a psyker or having access to, is that more like innate or is that like a skill?
It's, I won't say the X-Men, but it's not really like the X-Men, but it's like every human is inherently psychic in a way. But some people are less than others, and some people aren't really at all. But for like a librarian, they're like specifically a psyker. Like they're born with the psyker gene that allows them to like tap into those powers. Now, some psychers are way better than others. Like for instance, Magnus is, I mean, almost on par with the Emperor as psychic power. But like a librarian below him would be pretty good, but not nearly as powerful. It's like I guess kind of like the X-Men, but if they're all just like using the powers of the war.
Right.
Like Eldar are all kind of psychers in a way because they have like a strong psychic power. That's kind of how Slaanesh was born because of all their psychic power kind of mixing and doing this whole thing.
Okay.
So yeah.
So the Thousand Sons, I guess, are very kind of heavy in that whatever gene or
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
They usually try to recruit people with that gene. So they can have mostly psychers.
Okay.
But a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people don't like psychers and stuff like that, especially back to the Dark Age technology. Maybe not Dark Age technology, but before, I can't remember what it was called, but it was a period where humanity was all cut off from each other. I think it was Dark Age technology. Because it was after the war with the robots or the AIs or whatever. And a lot of societies would kill off their psychers because you had these psyker humans who would have this gene and they would cause all types of problems to happen. And then so they would get killed or thrown in prison or whatever. And some of them left and would do their own thing in other places. Now, for the societies that killed off their psychers, actually was a good thing because the ones that did have psychers caused a lot of problems later on, but that's a whole different episode. So, yes, Leman Russ of the Space Wolves, which I don't think we really covered them at all. He doesn't like Psykers. He really doesn't. He was all for the Council of Nikaea. This picture here actually is kind of the council. So basically, what it was is that they got together in this big forum, and the Emperor said, "I'm going to ban all sorcery in all the legions, flat out. No, like, and nobody can do it." And Leman Russ was like, "That's awesome. I agree 100%." But Magnus was like, "No, that's like my whole thing. Like, what I there's like I can control this power. I know how to use it. You have to trust me." And he said it's like a tool like any other. And if we don't use it, then we are ignorant and defenseless against the things that live in the war. And the Emperor's like, "Yeah, but I just don't trust you guys. Like, it's too much." So he says, "Henceforth, it is my will that no legion will maintain a librarius department. All its warriors and instructors must be returned to the battle companies and never again employ any psychic powers." So this was flat out, if I ever see you casting magic, you're going to prison.
Okay.
And then he said, "Woe betide he who ignores my warning or breaks faith with me. He shall be my enemy, and I will visit such destruction upon him and all of his followers that, until the end of all things, he shall rue the day he turned from my light." Real biblical, right? He's
Yeah.
gonna listen to me. Like, don't even think about it, or I will turn you into ash with psychic power. So Magnus, of course, is very upset by this because that's his whole thing, and he doesn't know what to do. So after Nikaea, Magnus keeps studying, but kind of more secretly now. He's like, I can prove him wrong. I can do it. And there's something that they call the Great Ocean, the warp. That's their word for it. So, and he saw in this Great Ocean horrors turning and this treachery that happens, and the whole shape of this whole heresy and all the different Imperium falling apart because of the Horus heresy. So Magnus had two choices. Either he says nothing, obeys the edict, Council of Nikaea, and let the emperors have to deal with it on his own, or he can break the edict, use this power to send a warning all the way across the Terra. So remember I talked about in the last previous episodes that Magnus sent that warning after the Temple of Delphos.
Yes.
It wasn't after. It was after Iswan 3, I think. So it was a little later.
Okay.
So he does this. He sends this projection through the warp to Terra. He's like, I need to warn him of what's coming. It's kind of a catch-22, right? Like, I break the law, but tell my dad and maybe get thrown in prison or even killed. Or I do nothing and then my emperor might die anyways. So, yeah, what are you going to do? So he had to really reach into his power to basically do a spiritual, an astral projection of himself all the way to Terra. And it takes a lot of power, a lot of energy. And beneath the palace, in something called the Imperial Dungeon, he projects himself around the Golden Throne. And this is the picture of the Golden Throne. It's this, obviously, Golden Throne, but it's like this machine that is Dark Age of technology. So nobody really knows how it works except for like Malcador and the Emperor. And he projects himself into this room. And it was one of the most guarded places, actually. Nobody, you didn't want anybody in here unless they knew what they were doing. But at the time, it's just custodians, Sisters of Silence, maybe some Mechanicus, Malcador, obviously, and the Emperor. It's a very kept secret. I mean, this is his secret project, right? That we've talked about so many times now. So he projects himself into this place and destroys all these protective warriors he has around it, like a cannonball, right, through the side of the ship. Basically, it's like when you get home and your dog decided to see you and they just run through everything and knock everything over, and you're like, what are you doing? You know, it's like that. And it's not like he just shows up and goes like in Thor Love and Thunder, where that kid's little head is, and that thing is, you guys, we're captured. It's not that. It's like literally a cannonball of a projection through the wall, and he goes, "Listen, I have to tell you something," and it's like so magnificent, so powerful that it like kills a bunch of people in the room, makes a bunch of people go crazy. It's like too much power at once. So, and this apparition appears, and the Emperor's there, and he says, you know, he knows it's Magnus. And then Magnus just says father, and he can't say anything else because he realizes, he looks around, the shockwave of him showing there and destroying these wards had killed thousands, and it caused effects to hundreds more people in the room. So exactly what he was trying to avoid in a way, he ended up causing.
Right.
And the mechanisms were like destroyed as well, the Golden Throne mechanisms, and nobody knows how to fix it. So that's a big problem. And a bunch of things started coming from the warp through that basically uh, cut he made into the wall, or not wall, but into the system. And there's a quote here from the book that says, "The treachery of Horus was swept away, an afterthought in the wake of the destruction Magnus had unwittingly unleashed." So he realized what he did was so bad, trying to help, that he doesn't even say anything except for father, and ends up just like leaving because he can't. He's like, I guess I was wrong. I can't control this power. So he returns to Prospero, and he kind of sits in silence in his own chamber for a long time. That he's kind of like, I guess I was wrong. But then it's like, now you're really wrong because you just undid the entire secret project that he was trying to do. So of course, the emperor's unhappy about that. He's very, very, very unhappy about that. And he says, I told you guys, it doesn't matter who you are. If you break that rule, you're going to have to answer to me. So he sends a legion after the Thousand Sons of Magnus to go bring them back. He sends the Space Wolves, which the Space Wolves do not like Thousand Sons because they don't like Psykers. So for them, they were like, awesome. We'll do it, no problem. Don't even have to, hey, say less. And also alongside them was this custodian named Constantine Valdor. I don't want to do power scaling stuff, but he is a top dog. He is the captain, I think so, the general captain of the custodians, which means he's the strongest of the custodians. So he's probably on par with Primarchs. Like this guy is if you want something, then you send this guy.
Right.
And you also send the Sisters of Silence because they are all blanks. So they can cancel out all the psychic power that the Thousand Sons are trying to use against them. So Emperor knows what he's doing here, you know. So he sends them out and he says, arrest them and bring them back here. Right. And that is a key word. He says, arrest them. Don't kill them. Don't do anything else, but just arrest them, bring them back here.
Mm-hmm.
And Basil says, and Leman Russ says, you got it, no problem. So unfortunately, somebody says, this woman named Tina, she says, and she realizes that it's probably not going to go down the way he wants it to. And she says, then Magnus will be lucky to leave Prospero alive.
Mm.
Because it's just not, like, you're not just going to go in there and arrest him, right? So, especially because he sends, and the Space Wolves are called the Emperor's Executioners. These aren't like the Emperor's policemen, you know, these are the guys you send if you really need to make sure that everybody involved in something is going to die. So it's a little extra, right? He's sending in the Navy SEALs for a drug dealer down the street. You know what I mean?
Right. And sending in like the biggest haters.
Right. The biggest haters, the people who can shut down all their psychic power, and the strongest custodian. So it's not, we're sending the SWAT, Navy SEALs, National Guard, like, there will be no escape. So there's this guy here named Casper Hauser, and he is a human. He's a chronicler, and basically another one of those types that just writes things down, chronicles things. And Magnus is watching the Space Wolves fleet through Hauser as kind of an antenna. I know it's confusing, but it's psychic power stuff, really. That's the best way I can say it.
Mm-hmm.
Like psychic powers, he can like basically see through somebody else's eyes. Right. Now, he can speak through him. So he speaks through Casper Hauser to Leman Russ and says, okay, I get you're coming to arrest me. Fair enough. But let me evacuate the civilians, take down the defenses, and I'll bring us out in the open. I'll surrender. Basically, we can make this bloodless. We don't need to make a whole thing about it. And Leman Russ says, only you have the choice to make the consequences bloodless. Basically, I'll meet you where you want to. We just say, I match energy, okay? So, and he tells Magnus, honestly, but even though Leman Russ doesn't like Thousand Sons, it's still his brother, right? We've talked about this many times now. So he says, what is about to happen should not be happening. He feels bad about doing it. It's not like he's like, oh, I can't wait to go kill all these Thousand Sons. It's more of like, it is what it is. Emperor told me to do it, so I got to do it. Right. But there's a little bit of something going on in the background. Nothing in this is ever as easy as it seems. So eventually Magnus tells Russ that Horus is going to betray you, though, and you need to know this. And Russ is like, he's just saying that to get us off his back. So now Russ is starting to get annoyed because he's like, you're telling me these lies. You're trying to overturn the rulings of Nikaea. He's like, I know your game. Like that's I'm not falling for it. You ain't tricking me. Hauser says, well, why would Magnus lie to you on purpose? He already knows he's going to get in trouble. And Russ says, because one of our own rune priests had already died saying the same thing. But that enemy was corrupted by chaos. So I'm smart. I'm wise to it. That means Magnus is corrupted by chaos too. That's what he's trying to do. So he's too like him saying that Horus is going to betray you is the same thing basically that one of his own priests said before they had to kill him. But the reason he said that is because the guy was corrupted by chaos. So now Leman Russ is like Magnus is doing the same thing that guy did. He's also corrupted by chaos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So that's why it's not working.
Is he corrupted by chaos at this
Magnus?
point?
No.
Okay.
He's totally telling the truth. And that's kind of what sucks about Magnus is that he's trying his hardest to make sure this bad thing doesn't happen, but everything he does is the wrong thing.
Right.
So, and you'll see this meme a lot. People say Magnus did nothing wrong. As in literally, he was supposed to do nothing, and he did that wrong. Because everything he tries to do is wrong. So just stop, don't touch it, leave it alone. Just sit there, read your books. It's like, no, I'm trying to help, and it like knocks over everything. Like, no, stop.
Right.
Magnus is not chaos. Leman Russ is like, it's a campaign of disinformation to support his ruse. He says, you fake news, and I know it. I'm not falling for it. And it's also, this isn't just recent. This has been years and years and years of the Space Wolves not liking the Thousand Suns. So this, I mean, really, you're picking two rivals here. So of course you're not going to want to see it the way the other person sees it because you hate them. But even still, there was a hidden enemy that has been also planting the seeds as well, boosting up this rivalry that they don't know about. It's not Casper. There was a guy. Casper Hauser is one of them, but he's not the one that was originally kind of spreading this distrust in the groups. There was this figure at Nikaea that, wearing the face of Horus himself, talks to Casper, and Casper's like, you're not Horus, you can't be, or something like that. And then he takes his face away and it shows a face of Amon, who was one of Magnus's guys. He's like, you're not Amon, like, what are you doing? And then he's like, so who are, like, what kind of man are you? And he says, whoever said I was a man. And then he disappears. And Casper's like, that was really weird. What was that? So that's like this demon was basically kind of, but Casper doesn't think anything happened. He's like, oh, that was weird. But what the demon basically did was he kind of put a mimetic virus into Casper's brain. And Casper doesn't know it because what chaos can do sometimes is they can alter memories. So, and we'll get into it later on because it happens to a couple people where they'll basically implant like a, what do you call them? Like a trigger word, like a,
Yeah, trigger phrase.
yeah, like for the cold age, what are they called? Like secret agents?
Sleeper agent.
Sleepers, yeah, sleeper agent.
Yeah.
It's like that, where it's like you don't even realize it's Call of Duty Black Ops.
Right.
Try to make you kill the president, right? So it's like that. Casper Hauser had no idea that he was one of them.
Okay. So he saw this kind of demon kind of trying to portray himself as Horus. And it's like, oh, you got me. Does he not think anything of that because the demon implanted that kind of thing? Or
Partially that, and partially he just doesn't even know, like,
what to make of it?
yeah.
Okay.
He's like, it's maybe some weird magics or something, like, because you gotta understand, most people don't even know about the warp really like that.
Right.
They know, like, oh, there's like bad things if you use magic, but they don't know about demons. They don't know about changing memories. They know about sorcery, but they don't know, like, really the point that these demons will go to really throw off the Emperor. Because the Emperor to chaos is anathema. It's like he is everything that they don't want. So they'll do anything they can to make him stop, make him die, really.
Got it. So they're kind of warp education is so low that it's like, I don't know. It's kind of,
It's very like Southern United States sex ed. Just don't do it. Just don't even worry about it. And you're like, well, what about all this? Don't. Hey, what did I say? And then when you get teen pregnancy, it's the whole thing, right?
right.
It's in the way that they just don't even know how they can get tricked. They don't know what to look out for. Sometimes weird things happen. Like with going back, Xavier Jubal.
Right.
That's a Chaos Space Marine. But Loken's like, I don't know what that was. He was probably infected by some alien parasite or something. You know what I mean? And then Caspero said maybe to somebody, hey, there's like a weird demon guy back there. He didn't. Or people have been like, what are you talking about, demons? Yes, after a certain point, eventually, Magnus is getting closer and closer to Prospero. And Magnus still is like, I know I deserve it. I accept that I did something wrong. And he dispersed a lot of his guys out. He said, leave the planet, go be on the outer areas, because it's not going to be good for you. So he basically left his planet undefended, which he said he would. So I'll go into more, actually. Let me explain a little bit more what that little guy who was messing with Casper was about. So, like I said, it was a warp entity. It was basically the whole purpose of the warp entity was to set the sorcerers and Executioners against each other, right? So the Space Wolves and Thousand Suns against each other. Because they're both very powerful. I mean, having a sorcerer as strong as Magnus is like incredible. Having fighters as good as the Space Wolves and have their anti-warp abilities also really good. So if you can make them tear each other up, then you get rid of that threat for the future.
Right.
So it basically wears faces of people and all these different things. Because in some lore, some people will say that Horus intercepted Leman Russ and told him, actually, no, you got to go kill Magnus. Like, yeah, the Emperor told me, don't worry about it. Just go over there and kill him. That's what he said.
Mhm.
But it really wasn't Horus. It was, quote unquote Horus.
Right.
So, yeah, this is this being that, and then it's gone.
Right.
So, it really just, all it did was just play on the already mistrust that they had for each other. It didn't really need to even do much. It had to say, like, oh, yeah, like, dude, I heard Magnus likes pineapple on pizza. And he's like, what? Pineapple on pizza? Just like dumb stuff like that. Or he says, yeah, I heard Magnus is like, using necromancy, bringing dead back to life. And he's like, what? Ah. And then he goes, and Magnus is like, yeah, I heard the Space Wolves like eat their kids or something like that. And he's like, that's so crazy. It's basically what this guy's been doing. He's like Littlefinger from Game of Thrones, just going back and forth, playing both sides. So he always comes out on top.
Right.
So the main city of Prospero is called Tizca, the City of Light. I don't have a picture. You see that pyramid back there? It's very, in these pyramids, their city is very, it's like future Native American, if that makes sense.
Okay.
We like those pyramids. I mean, Tizca is very, classical, like Mayan name. Think of it like that's kind of how it looks. It's like magic Mayan city. So it's called the City of Light, the Jewel of Prospero, the city of pyramids and libraries and learning. And it was the most beautiful thing they've ever made. Does this sound familiar at all to another place, perhaps, like Monarchia, maybe? So we can only imagine what happens here, too. So Space Wolves come down from orbit with Titans, Custodians, Silent Sisters. They just start tearing it up, blowing it up, just tearing everything down. And the assault was a massacre. They have no defenses to fight back. And Thousand Sons were like, they started fighting back because, like, we can't just let them just tear up our city. And they're getting killed. I mean, this is kind of what's going on here. You can see this picture. Like, Space Wolves are great guys. They're fighting the Thousand Sons. And so it's not going well for the Thousand Sons.
Right.
They, in the Sisters of Silence, are smothering their psychic powers, so they can't fight their magics. Like, they literally, they're defenseless. I mean, they're crippled. So Magnus is sitting in his tower and he's letting it happen. He's like, I can't fight back. I can't fight back or else I'll be wrong, And his chief librarian, Ahriman, tells him straight up, he says, you need to do something. Like, this is not going to end the way you think it's going to end if you don't do anything. And then Magnus says, I have brought this upon us. This is my doom. And Ahriman's like, you need to do, like, I understand that, but we're dying. So Ahriman leaves. And Magnus just lets it happen. And then at a certain point, you can't let it go on anymore. Like, they're kicking people in the street. They're just like being, doing stuff where it's like being real disrespectful at a certain point. They're like peeing on the pyramids. You're like, hey, well, hey. And he descends from his tower in fire. And that's kind of this picture here. The other edited one, but that's kind of what's going on now, right? He's there casting some of his spells that he can cast. Because with Psykers, and this is kind of what Ahriman looks like as well. He has a pretty cool design, like the horns. Yeah. So going back a little bit, Sisters of Silence are blanks, right? They can suppress psychic fields, but there are different levels of suppression they can do versus like different types of sorcerers. So Magnus being as strong as he is as a sorcerer, most of them can't suppress his magic. Some of it maybe, but not all of it. Like, that's why the Emperor can be around the Sisters of Silence, because they can't suppress his magic. It's too powerful. So that's why you'll see sometimes some of them are still using magic around them, because some of them can get through it still. Right. But for most of them, they can't. So Magnus takes the field and says, you are my sons, and I have failed you. So now he's just feeling doubly bad. Like, okay, like, I can't do anything. I waited to try to get things. They're killing all my guys. It's bad.
Yeah.
Magnus reaches Leman Russ. He tells him, he opens a gateway for his guys. Before he reaches Leman Russ, he opens a gateway for his guys and tells him to go through, just escape, using magic still. And Leman Russ sees this, and he's like, oh, see, here he goes again doing the spells. I knew it. I knew he couldn't help himself. But he sends some guys through and says, escape. So they meet each other and they fight. And they fight in the ruin. They're blades and fury, just, the whole thing. And Magnus cracks open Russ's chest plate with a single blow and then drives a blade of like pure psychic energy into his body. Doesn't kill him, but it hurts, right?
Right.
And then Russ fights back and breaks Magnus's arm. and then he cuts up upwards and takes out Magnus's eye.
Mm.
So that's why most of the time you see Magnus in things, he only has one eye because he lost it. And this picture's kind of weird because it's like
Before he
lost the eye, but I think it's like they call him the Cyclops because he kind of catches his eye.
Okay.
And once he hits his eye, he loses his power. At this point, he's like defeated. And the book says, all eyes turned to Russ as he brought Magnus down across his knee, and the sound of the Crimson King's back breaking tore through every warrior of the Thousand Suns' heart. So he does the Bane. He picks him up overhead and just smashes his spine.
Yeah.
And so Magnus on the ground crippled, and Russ brings up his sword, Frostblade, and he goes to take off his head with it. He says, I'm going to kill you. That's it. It's over. But before Russ could do that, Magnus speaks, there's one more spell, and it unmakes his body, dissolving his body. And all this power then goes into Ahriman. And so the gateway could finish opening up so that the rest of them can escape. And he basically tells Ahriman, this is my last gift to you. So they escape through this gateway and it closes behind them, and Space Wolves are just left in Prospero. So they're all gone, and they're kind of in the warp right now, which is not a good place to be, but they can probably handle it better than some can, maybe. We'll see.
Okay. So, sorry, is Magnus dead then?
Kind of.
Okay.
This is going to sound so bad. You ever play Kingdom Hearts?
Yes.
So you know when Kairi's heart goes into Sora? It's like that, where it's like she's not dead, but she's like contained. She's like in. Here's a better version of it. When Fulgrim gets pushed back by the demon. So when he's demon possessed after killing Ferris, and he's like still in his body, but he can't control his body. It's kind of like that. Whereas he's putting his spirit into Ahriman as kind of like a phylactery. Now Ahriman is still Ahriman, but he's also holding the spirit and the essence of Magnus inside him.
Okay.
Which also makes him even more powerful as well, because you have that power.
Right. And so is Ahriman at Space Marine? Or
yes, okay. Ahriman is a very, very, he's like the second most powerful sorcerer out of all the Thousand Suns, obviously except for Magnus.
Okay.
So he's definitely good. He can handle it.
Got it.
So that's kind of what happens here. That's all I got. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Yeah. So they go through the warp and they're just kind of stuck there then? They're just in the warp?
They're on a planet in the warp space. Okay. So warp is weird. It's like a fog in a way in some ways. So there can be things in the warp, planets and suns, stars, and all that different stuff. So there's a planet that they all move to that they know is like, it's like a safe house. Now it's still in the warp, so it can be attacked by warp entities. It's more susceptible to warp entities, but it's safe enough for what they want to do. So it's because they know they're not going to follow them in there because that's what just killed them, right? Like if they go over to that warp planet and they kill all the Thousand Suns there, now they're stuck there because how are they going to get out? They don't have magics like they did. So it's kind of their last thing is like, okay, the safe house, they can't follow us through here.
Okay. And then, so kind of them leaving Prospero, where, I guess in our timeline that we've covered, where does that fit in?
So this is about around Isfahan.
3 or 5.
But well, kind of both, because 3 and 5 happen within like a week of each other.
Okay.
So it's around that time.
Okay.
The Emperor, I'm going to actually, because I don't know if Garo has warned the Emperor yet, has told Rogodorn yet. So it might be before.
Okay. But it's close, kind of.
But it's within a very similar time frame.
Okay. So this is kind of while Horus is...
He's almost
being corrupted.
Yes, it's like Isfahan 3, around Isfahan 3, really.
Got it. Okay.
Like, I think it's before Garo gets there, because if Magnus did this and Garo was already there, then it would be a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. So, the Thousand Suns, are they chaos now? Or are they just kind of like, we don't know what to do because we're like, kind of not strangely up there?
Yeah, they're kind of in a weird spot. They're like, what do we do now? But they figure out what to do pretty soon. Really, the biggest thing right now is to get Magnus back together again. Put Humpty Dumpty back together. Because, yeah, he's kind of in Ahriman, but it's also, you can't just excise him. It's like, well, we need a vessel for him to live in, right? So it's like, because his physical body's gone. It's turned to like a mist. Yeah, he took them as this mist.
Right. Okay. So kind of TBD in a lot of ways.
Right. It's like, yeah, you get it. He's quote unquote dead, kind of like how Vulcan is also quote unquote dead.
Right.
Now, Vulcan is definitely more dead than Magnus is, if that makes sense. But Magnus I don't know. It's weird. It's warp magics. But yeah,
Right.
I don't want to say anything right now because we'll get into what happens later on. But
He's there, but he's not
he's not active.
He's kind of like a backseat driver
Yes.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. He's in like a stasis.
Right.
That's kind of it for the Thousand Suns at this point. They're kind of out of the picture, kind of like what Chaos wanted. Now, Space Wolves definitely aren't because they're still around and they succeeded. So they're not out of the picture. And they're also just as dangerous, if not more dangerous than Thousand Suns in some ways. But yes, but the big thing is you kind of get revealed like this is what the project that the Emperor is working on was this thing called the Webway project. And we'll definitely go into it a little bit later. But what I can say now is it was supposed to be something that actually Magnus was supposed to use. It was almost a gift for him in a way. It was like this thing that you need supreme psychic power to use. And the only people that could do it was the Emperor or Magnus.
Okay.
Or maybe Malkador.
Yeah.
I can say numbers wise, only a tenth of the Thousand Suns survived. So only 1,000 warriors are left.
Yeah. Okay.
That's like the name Thousand Suns, which they're called the Thousand Suns before. Yeah. So yeah, they escape with armor in the Book of Magnus, and they're on this planet. It's called the Planet of Sorcerers.
Got it. So I think last thing I have is I know we talked about the Sisters of Silence with the blanks and everything. They're kind of anti-magic fields or whatever. Do the Space Wolves have anything of that, or are they just magic haters?
They do in a way. So Leman Russ kind of is a Psyker, but also not. It's weird. Like he can amplify things. It's kind of like how because every Primarch in a way has some type of warp energy in them because that's how they were made originally.
Okay.
The Emperor took soul's power from like warp and put it into these test tube babies and did other stuff and made them. So all of them have warp power in a way, some way more than others, obviously like Magnus. But Leman Russ, like his rune sword, he has a sword with a bunch of runes on it or his armor, and they can have like protective fields, let's say. Like you can't hit him because he has these runic armors on or it like enhances his strength or stuff like that. Very like in D&D, like rune knights, like fighters, where it's just like I inscribe the rune of strength, so I do +2 damage now. Like it's like that.
Right, like an enchantment of
which is psychic. Okay. Not psychic, but it's magic power. So it's similar but different. And it's a lot of you see a lot of that where just like people do things that is like magic, but not the same way something else does magic. Like word bearers, they do spells as well, but they do different types of spells than like Thousand Suns do. Versus Space Wolves. Versus even like Dark Angels sometimes do things. Or like we talked about last episode, John Grammaticus is a Psyker. And he's called a Logokine, which basically means he can speak any language as long as he physically can speak it. He just does this by observing people for a little bit, and then he's like, "Oh, I can speak your language." Obviously, if he doesn't have the mouth parts for it, he can't do it. But so it's like that. It's really not a MacGuffin, but you could call it a MacGuffin in the way of like it's whatever the writer wants it to be at the time.
Yeah, kind of how to explain their like what makes them unique in a way that kind of thing.
They have power, but like this one's fire power instead of this guy has cold power. It's like X-Men. Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, that's all I got. So if you liked it, like it. Thanks for watching. We're getting some views on the videos, which is good. I like to see it. Comment if you want to for engagement and all that. And I guess if that's all, I'll see you next time. Bye.